good situation is a bad situation, and a bad situation is a good situation. So that's also parallel actually to an old Chinese proverb: a good father is a bad father, and a bad father is a good father. So this good and bad, we are always carrying that kind of around in our minds about how things are going. We have a sense in our mind, oh, things are going well, and that will change. Thanks to impermanence and things always changing, then we're going to have it in our minds, oh, things are not going so well. Then, because of impermanence, that will also change again, and we'll have it in our mind, oh, things are going pretty well now, and I'm feeling better. So when we are attached to this good or bad idea that we make in our mind, then we suffer. We tend to think of suffering only when it's going badly. But when things are going well, we don't have any motivation to see into the whole situation. And if we have a lot of success, what one would normally call a good situation, good health, nice car, a job we love, it's not that those things are bad. That's not the point. The point is, when it's going swimmingly like that, we're not motivated to ask a question or to look deeply into something, because it's all going so well. So our ability to look into something, our ability to be aware, that muscle gets a little weak because things are going so well. Then, because of impermanence, things change. We lose somebody we love. We lose the job we love. We might lose our good health. Any number of 10,000s of things will change. Now we have some suffering, and we don't have a practice of looking into it. And a lot of times, that's when people will try meditation. Oh, I've got some suffering. I can't find my way out. I want to mitigate it. I want it to go away. That's completely natural and appropriate. Everybody wants happiness, and we don't want suffering. That's fine. And actually, it's a great motivation towards practicing. However, true happiness springs from the ability to transform our suffering. And the first step in transforming our suffering is illogically welcoming it in. Most of us, all our lives, are trained, to push away the thing that's causing us suffering, or to blame the suffering on the thing outside of us. And that makes it farther away. It makes it harder to transform. The suffering is ours. Whether it's physical, emotional, spiritual, financial, it's ours, and it's our life. If we can develop a posture, simply a posture of welcoming it in and asking it to teach us. Now, this is not easy. And it takes practice. And by practice, I mean start with small things and then work up to the bigger thing. And then you'll be surprised how fast your wisdom grows. Because according to the Buddha, you are already Buddha. You have Buddha nature, you're already awake. It's covered up, though, by a habit of thinking, a habit of suffering, a habit of being attached to good and bad. So, this practice is welcoming in the unpleasant thing and looking into it deeply and asking it to teach us. It's actually the first part of the Heart Sutra. There's a wonderful nun I met, I have to remember her name, Martine Batchelor. She's married to Stephen Batchelor. She lives in France, but she was teaching in Los Angeles. And she tells the story of really not liking green bell peppers. They're always unpleasant for her to smell, to handle, to taste, even to the point of sometimes making her nauseous. Not allergic, not dangerous, just doesn't like them. So of course she's practicing in the temple, and she's given kitchen job, and she has to dice up this huge mountain of green bell peppers. So that's her job, and she really dislikes it. She does it, and it's unpleasant the whole time. So a lot of suffering. Then the next day, she has kitchen duty again, another big pile of green bell peppers. So third day, she thinks, I don't like the suffering so much, so I'm going to look right into it. And she found she was holding the resistance to the green pepper, holding this objection, using it to define who she was. Once she welcomed it in and became intimate with, this is this thing I make, then she was able to let it go. And just like relaxing and breathing, all this resistance to the bell pepper disappeared. She didn't like bell peppers after that. But this thing that she was always habitually making disappeared. Once she became intimate with it. Before being intimate with it, it was just, I hate bell peppers, I don't want to do this. But when we do something like that, in the case of something small, that gives us a clue. It gives us a way in when it's a more significant suffering, a larger scale suffering, or a frightening suffering, or a more unpleasant suffering like a chronic physical pain, a chronic unpleasant neighbor that we own property right next door to. Something like that, where we begin to create a whole narrative. Will I have this pain the rest of my life? Will I have the neighbor the rest of the time I live in this house? Will that dog continue to bark for the rest of my life? Will that dog be barking during my favorite movie, etc., etc.? So our minds are very bright. We make these stories, and then we hold them, and then we suffer. And as we push that suffering away, the bad situation, it just amplifies it. Whereas if we could welcome it in, just welcome it in, what is this? Without any judgment and without the agenda for it to go away. For me, that was the hard part. Like I go, I'm going to welcome this in, sure, because then it'll go away. Well, if I'm holding because then it will go away, I'm not actually welcoming it in. So it still requires this kind of honesty. And a kind of willingness, a kind of open-heartedness to the suffering piece. There's something there that's to teach us. I don't know what it is. When I'm doing this kind of a practice, I don't know what's coming. And that's also the case for all human beings. They're not going to know what their suffering is until they welcome it in. And sometimes what it looks like on the surface it's completely different than that. Because our minds are incredibly bright, incredibly fast, and complicated. They are that way as a natural result of modern living. So none of us are getting out of that. Even if you want to sit a long retreat, 90 days, in a Zen temple and look at the floor for 14 hours a day and have somebody else fix the food and have no schedule, just meditation, 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 your complicated mind will continue, alive and well. So our complicated minds are not disappearing. What we're learning to do is make some space around them, develop a heartfelt respect for them, but then allowing all the things we are before our thinking to flourish. And allow all the experiences we have that are before a thinking experience to notice. So then we notice, oh, sky's a little bluer. Yeah, then we notice, yeah, this chronic pain I have, it changes. I thought it was just this big block of misery, but now, a little bit less now, a little bit more some other time. So these nuances, these subtleties start to become clear to our experience because we've let go of the story, we've let go of the desire for it to go away. We want to transform suffering into wisdom. In Buddhism, we have this metaphor: the lotus flower, our wisdom, grows out of the swamp. It grows out of the mud. If we don't have mud, we actually don't have a lotus. So our job as a human being, what is a human being? We have to attain that. And if we attain it a little bit, then we have a little bit of wisdom, and love, kindness, and compassion for this world can come out. Then if we attain what our human nature is more, then we have more love, kindness, compassion for others coming out of our heart-mind. So for us to be able to help, we have to see into our own mud, make friends with our own mud, know that it's not going anywhere. It actually is a natural result of being a human being, and it can be transformed into wisdom. Also, Buddhism and Zen do not have a corner on this. Every wisdom tradition, sincerely practiced, arrives at the same point. My teacher used to say, you know, there's this big mountain, and the top of the mountain is enlightenment, or the top of the mountain is wisdom and compassion. And some people, they take a hike around, but they spiral up, but they get to the top. They are sincere and they practice. Some people, their tradition does a switchback. So just one side, but switching back and forth, also gets to the top. Same view. Some traditions just straight up to the top. A lot harder, maybe a lot more effort. Same point though at the top. Equanimity, insight into why things are the way they are, and then a capacity to help. And that help springs spontaneously. People don't become altruistic. They don't think, oh, this is a good thing, I'll go do the good thing. They live their life 100%, trusting their own Buddha nature to flower. Everybody's flower is particular. Everybody's flower is unique. Your flower is unique because your mud is unique. And the more we attain our unique mud, then we become the unique flower, and that love, that light helps the world. Then the world gets along a little better. And the habits of human beings that are destroying the planet, that are destroying each other, that are performing all kinds of atrocities, too many to list, those things come down a little bit. They can't be cured. They can't be fixed. They are the natural cause and result of karma. But we each have a unique relationship to the suffering in the world. We can find that relationship, and then out of the relationship comes our function. That's always unique to you. So a teacher, somebody like this job on this cushion, they're only functioning as a guide. You know, this path leads to the good view, this path is where the briars are, don't go over here, that's where the bear is. Over here is the edge of the Grand Canyon, spectacular. But you do the hike. None of us, the teachers can't wake up for the students. Everybody wakes up for themselves. Also, waking up is also impermanent. So we wake up, we have some insight, some wisdom, we help this world, and then a few days later we're back into suffering, we're confused, we don't know what the hell is going on, and why is it this way? Yeah? Then we just look at what we are, look at what's going on, our relationship to it, and then the function naturally appears. We have a teaching poem, one line says, attain, clear, attain, clear, attain, clear. So this clear is our mind before thinking. It's always there. You all heard that. You all saw that. That's your mind before thinking. That's your true nature. It cannot disappear. It's not dependent on anything. Trusting that it's there and then just acting. We say Zen means do it. So this good situation, bad situation, we can use to first take care of our own suffering. Then once we've taken care of our own suffering, we have wisdom and insight, we can take care of other people's suffering. We can at least help them, and then they do their share. They have to attain their suffering, attain their lotus, and then rinse and repeat. So that's the purpose of Buddhism. Wake up and teach others.